If there's one thing that has rapidly become apparent during the last few weeks, it's that the mainstream games industry is, not doing too hot. Between rising prices, a bunch of studio closures, and it feeling like the entire industry is gambling literally everything on the success of a single Grand Theft Auto installment, it feels like there has never been a worse time to be into big-budget AAA games. It's so bad that none of them even came out this month. Some of the biggest gaming news was that Destiny 2 got unreleased. That's like -1 game. Now, amidst all the doom and gloom in the news, it's easy to think that video games as a whole are doing nothing but crashing and burning. But you'll be glad to hear that that couldn't be further from the truth. A whole bunch of incredibly talented, smaller teams have released more excellent titles this month than any regular human being could ever play. And these independent devs prove that there are still high quality, reasonably priced, and most importantly, really fun games out there if you know where to look. But, I hear you cry, which of the hundreds and hundreds of indie games that came out this month are worth playing? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it just so happens that each and every month I release a video all about 5 of the coolest, weirdest, and most underappreciated games of the last month that you should have played, but that you probably didn't. This video, as always, isn't going to focus on the games that everybody's heard of by now, like the brilliant Meccha Chameleon, but it's instead going to focus on less high-profile titles that nevertheless deserve their time in the spotlight. And to make buying these great games as easy as possible, I'll even put the best price I could find for them right here in the corner. See? That's helpful, isn't it? Okay, with no further ado to be had, let's get started with Snacktorio, a very cute game about being a little goblin chef feeding artisanal cuisine to eldritch monstrosities. Now, I see loads of people out there who love the idea of playing a factory game but are intimidated by all the big ones like Factorio or Satisfactory because they're too complicated and they take too long to play. But Snacktorio excellently addresses that concern by chopping those sprawling 100-hour optimization challenges into a series of bite-sized levels, with each one introducing some new ideas like feeding multiple monsters, decaying ingredients, or dealing with lethal void sludge in a manageable way that never gets too overwhelming. However, that's not to say that Snacktorio is too easy. While the game does start off pretty basic, once you get to the later levels, I was finding even my Factorio veteran brain being put to its paces, especially when you try and speedrun the levels to get your kitchen up and running as fast as possible. Snacktorio is a fantastically accessible entree to the challenging palette of factory games, but there's more than enough complexity here to sate the appetite of even the biggest optimization monsters. Give it a look. In a similar vein of creating more accessible, more streamlined versions of existing formats, we've got Tabletop Tavern, which takes the style of big tactical battles that you'd normally find in something like Total War and squeezes them into a roguelike. The craziest thing about Tabletop Tavern is that I'm amazed nobody's done it before. The devs have taken all the best bits from multiple games and reconfigured them into a format you can get all the way through inside 30 minutes, and the team have squeezed so much character and variety into this tiny package. Every faction feels unique, the controls are super smooth, and the roguelike structure adds loads of interesting gameplay wrinkles and planning into an already compelling core loop. Tabletop Tavern is such an obvious work of passion, and the devs have been so diligent patching the game basically every day since it came out that they deserve to be rewarded. It's great, and it's even getting multiplayer at some point. What more could you want? Next, we've got Dimhaven: The Lost Source, and let me just say up front, this game is hard as goddamn nails, but that is remedied by it being one of the most inventive and constantly surprising puzzlers in recent memory. Dimhaven takes inspiration from the likes of Myst and Riven, and that means that instead of just dealing with variations on a single mechanic like in most puzzle games, you'll instead be having to get your head around an incredible variety of mechanisms, bureaucratic processes, and even languages in order to progress. And each puzzle step is perfect at hitting you with something that seems completely incomprehensible at first, but that slowly resolves into a code, or technique, or instruction that causes it to make perfect sense, clearing the way for yet more. Oh Jesus, what the hell is this now? Dimhaven: The Lost Source is a little bit short, but what's there is fantastic if you love really hard brain teasers, so if that's you, please do pick it up. Now, a lot of games over the years have tried copying the style and format of Papers, Please, but I've found that they almost always fail to balance the original's amazing combination of tension, narrative depth, and humour. That is, until now. Thank You for Your Application sees you filtering graduates attempting to get a job working for an evil megacorp, and what starts as pretty straightforward document checking quickly evolves into discriminating based on mental stability, nationality, and how people react to electric shocks as society begins to fall apart around you, leading to not only some great deductive challenges, but also some great storytelling and character work that helps tie this weird sci-fi world together that is actually not too far away from reality. Thank You for Your Application is a game that is instantly, depressingly familiar if you've ever engaged with the job market in the last few years, but unlike that, it's really fun. Give it a look. And finally, we have the best game from June 2026 that you should have played, and that is something by the name of Voidling Bound, which is, imagine Pokemon, but it's a third-person shooter now, and it's also a lot more honest about being an exercise in selectively mutating eugenics-powered killing machines. Initially, I thought that Voidling Bound was just going to be a pretty light action game with some fairly surface-level creature-collecting DNA, but the more I played, the more it became incredibly apparent that the team behind Voidling Bound have gone absolutely 100% all in on this theme. Not only does each of the creatures have the obligatory progression tree, but they've also got a big map of evolutions where each node gives your Voidling of choice a unique appearance and a new ability, meaning that a Quipek Spect for fire damage has a completely unique set of abilities compared to a poison one. And even then, the poison Quipek can be built in a variety of different directions, like healing or area denial. But that's not all. Your Voidlings can also be crossbred to combine their stats, abilities, and traits in a way that's not ordinarily possible, up to and including finding rare variant subspecies with their own totally unique abilities. And you can even gene splice the little bastards, so you can customize their stats and traits from across different species so as to create the ultimate inbred Habsburgian warrior. There is an insane amount of depth to Voidling Bound's titular creatures, and they all feel very distinct and fun to play, like this guy who's all about making elemental nodes that do various things based on how you mutate him, or this little fella who summons even littler clones, or this guy who's got 2 sets of melee moves that you can swap between, like you're playing Devil May Cry. It is great, and the combat system is very satisfying, with a mix of ranged combat and Doom-style melee executions that are incredibly expressive without requiring too much in the way of brainpower. Voidling Bound is a game that just oozes polish and passion, and it's a testament to what can be done with tried and tested mechanics by going all in on a really good core gimmick. If you like cute creatures and making stupid overpowered builds, then I highly recommend Voidling Bound. This video was brought to you by the supporters of the Architect of Games on Patreon and YouTube memberships, who, I have it on good authority, live up to 5 years longer than average, are 22% more attractive, and get a small bonus to their lightning resistance for 3 seconds after they roll. But just in case that isn't a sweet enough deal for you already, if you choose to donate some cash to the running of the channel, you get a whole bunch of bonus stuff, like ad-free episodes, bonus behind-the-scenes content, early access, and even 3 bonus games you should have played every single month. I think it's a pretty good deal, and you allow me to pay my rent, which is always good. Of course, donators also get their name in the credits. $5 or $8 a month gets you on the side, and $10 a month gets you on the voiced shoutout list alongside these cool people, who are Ali Wright, Andrew Lebrano, Auna94, Baroness Caroline, Bobby, Constantine Amend, Cosmic360, Daniel Metjes, Daniel Ursin, Dirk Jan Karrenbeld, Digleteer, Dis Ellie, Ekton, Edward Franklin Woods, Edwina the Space Bun, Eric Walston, Eugene Bulkin, Fuck It's Job, Fulibaxi, Gazkul, How, Heck It's Noah, I Support Trans Rights, I'm So Glad You Weren't Eaten, Jacob Dylan Riddle, Jinkaloid, Kevin Help Us, Konolov, Kangi, Leap Year Every Day, Luke Kokoran, Macewinder54, Mark Vallant, Mika Oi, Michael C., Mike Oxlong, Nate Graff, Oliver Marhofer, Patrick Romberg, Peter Tomasic, Reddedex, Regal Regex, Seslux, Silver Forfey, Toak, Tyler Duncan, Timotheus Beksek, Whimsical Wisp, Zach Brandmeier, and Chow. Okay, that's it from me. Sorry this one's a day late. Bye!